Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. So, on August 9th, which I know at the time of upload was a few days ago, we finally got confirmation that the Phantom Nightmare set that is coming out in the OCG TCG is a Yubel themed set. Now, this was speculated by a lot of us, but it's always good to get actual confirmation, and I'm sure most of you guys have seen the awesome new Yubel cards that we are getting that is going to come out in Phantom Nightmare. Well, I wanted to go over some of these cards, but from a different perspective than what you guys have probably seen so far. Obviously, you know that I love the anime, and these cards are filled with some awesome references to the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX show, and I felt it would be fun to kind of quickly go over these cards and talk about some anime references that I've found within these cards. So without further ado, let's get right into it, and we have to start with the boss, the new fusion monster, level 12, Yubel das Ewig Lieb Wachter. I probably did not say that right, but I'll work on my German as we go on in this video. Materials, one Yubel monster and one effect monster. It's really cool to see a Yubel fusion boss. I think that's kind of a really good aesthetic considering super polymerization was such a big card when it came to Yubel and Judai and just Season 3 in general of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. And remember, Yubel the Terror Incarnate, and Yubel the Ultimate Nightmare were all effect monsters. So to see a Yubel extra deck monster after all these years is super, super cool. And the artwork does symbolize that. We have many different super polymerization sightings, the main one being on the top left. At least I think it's supposed to resemble super polymerization. And the German meaning of this card is the Eternal Love Guardian, which obviously references Yubel's love for Judai in GX and how Yubel is the ultimate guardian of Judai. So between the name and the super polys going on in the background, and just the background and beauty of this card in general, this is a really, really awesome boss monster. We're getting two effect cards as well, including the Spirit of Yubel. And if you're a big fan of GX, you might recognize the castle in the background. Episode 155, that was the castle where Yubel, who was a human at the time, volunteered to be the Supreme King's guardian. After a discussion with the king, we can even see Judai looking over this exact background in one of the shots in 155, which is amazing. I love how they just took that background, put it on a card, and then just put Yubel with its arms crossed, standing in front of the castle. It's very much like a defending, not taking any crap bodyguard of the castle, and because that's the exact castle where Yubel volunteered to be the guardian, I think it makes perfect sense, this pose and the background of this card. Really, really cool reference there. We are also getting a card called Samsara Regenerating Lotus, and at first glance, this might not look like a Yubel card until you see the hand. Obviously, the hand was a very big reference to Marcel, Viper, and Amon, which all had their pacts with Yubel throughout the GX anime. I always think of Marcel. He's the first character that I think of because Yubel obviously had control of Marcel, and Marcel had that duel against Judai and Johan right before they actually went into the Duel Monsters world and left the academy. But that claw and that arm is such a symbolic part of Yubel and the pact with Yubel, so it's a super cool reference to Season 3 and to Yubel's control over certain characters. We've got two Yubel spell cards coming, and one is Nightmare Pain. Now, this I immediately recognized, and if you don't recognize it, this card artwork is 100% based on the damage-inflicting effects of Yubel, and I feel like the card's third effect, which is your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving your Yubel monsters instead, is just very simply a reference to what Yubel's effect actually is. The artwork depicts Yubel sending out a vine-like whip at your opponent, or at you, it kind of looks like from the perspective of watching the card. So it's a really, really cool reference there to Yubel's attack animation. And the other spell card we are getting is Mature Chronicle. Now, this is crazy. Obviously, you guys remember Spell Chronicle, which was used during the duel between Yubel and Yugioh, but this is crazy because Spell Chronicle is what allowed Yubel to use super polymerization. Well, Mature Chronicle, if you have 5 Chronicle counters from cards you control, you can activate this effect. If you have 5, you can add super polymerization from your deck to your hand. That's right, we have a Super Poly Searcher, which is crazy. And if we were ever going to get a Super Poly Searcher, it should be in a Yubel-themed archetype, because Super Poly and Yubel and Yugioh, they're all so connected and symbolic when it comes to the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX anime. There's so much history between those characters and that spell card that I love that we get an upgraded version of the Spell Chronicle used in the actual show, and now we are getting a way to search Super Poly. So I'm sure there's going to be some pretty cool ways to utilize that card, but man, oh man, that is nuts. And you get a Chronicle counter each time a Yubel monster or a monster that mentions Yubel is special summoned. And there's no limit to that. You can do that 5 times in one turn if possible, and you can search Super Poly, which, as we know, is an insane spell card. And we are getting one trap as well. That's called Eternal Favorite, which shows the embrace of Yubel and Yugioh pretty much at the end of their duel. Both of them fuse using super polymerization. So again, as I've said many times, Super Poly is so tied to Yubel and Yugioh and the story and journey between both of those characters. I'll have the shot up from the anime, but it literally looks identical to that. And I love in this shot that Yubel's wings or their, presence is shielding Yugioh as they embrace. So guys, some awesome Yubel cards coming in the Nightmare Phantom set. Phantom Nightmare, excuse me. We have been speculating for months. It's finally cool that we have confirmation that Yubel is getting some new cards. Let me know what you think of this deck. Let me know if you like any of the artwork or designs, and let me know some other anime archetypes that you would love to see get some support in some of these next upcoming booster sets. Yubel is so fascinating, right? Because when I think of Yubel, I think of the character. When someone who doesn't watch the show thinks of Yubel, they probably think of the archetype. It's one of those rare Yu-Gi-Oh! Instances where a character is an archetype, but is also a character. Like, it's super cool. So I'm happy Yubel, after all these years, is getting some new support. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If I missed any references, please let me know down below in the comments. I'll talk to you there, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.